If you've ever been to a football game or been on the track, you've seen the mysterious white box at the top of the bleachers. We've seen it too, and we wanted to get to know more about it. We were able to contact Mr. Wilson, who's been a teacher here at Santa Teresa for 17 years. He's also been announcing at sporting events for almost 15 years. We were able to get a tour of the announcer box and sit down with him and talk about his experience as an announcer.
Welcome to the Scorers booth, where we do all kinds of fun things for football, soccer games, and we're just going to have some fun announcing here and show you what we do behind the scenes in the score booth today. The activities director at the time, a guy named Mr. Lozano, he approached me and said, "Hey, Mr. Wilson, we're looking for somebody to announce some games, some basketball games." And they asked me to come out and do a boys basketball game, and I did it, had a good time, and he's like, "Yeah, you sounded good. Why don't you come back again?" And the next thing you know, it became what it became.
Mr. Wilson explained to us that there are regular announcers besides himself for football games, though he is asked to announce for the SD football players. His main announcing gig takes place in the gym.
Volleyball and basketball. That's where I do most of my announcing work. That's in the gym. I'll do a couple of baseball or softball games as well too. They set up a different sound system, and in the gym we have a wireless mic system.
Only the football games use the announcer box. In the actual room, there are various desks for the announcers and statsmen. There are sound systems, windows, and oh yes, the ladder.
My favorite part of the tour was going on the roof of the announcer box. Luckily, Mr. Wilson's key let us in there. And what's really interesting is he'd actually never been up there before, so we were able to experience that for the first time with him, and it was so awesome. Been up here before?
This is my first time up here.
Awesome.
I normally don't have a reason to come up here.
Well, it's definitely cool.
It is very clear that Mr. Wilson loves what he does and feels his role is important to the SD community.
My favorite part of announcing. When I just get in and have fun with the game and just be able to announce what the kids are doing and what they're doing out there, and at the same time doing starting lineups and be able to go with my moniker, "Your Santa Teresa Saints!" and just then bring them out one at a time and have fun with it. And I love helping out the Santa Teresa community in that way and making the game more fun for the kids and the parents. And it's an honor and a lot of fun to do. And this concludes our tour of the sound booth.
Thank you
for coming and have a great day.
Thanks, Mr. Wilson, for taking time out of your day to show us around the box. We really appreciate it, and we're glad we got to explore this unexplored location. I was out playing tennis at the beginning of the year, and I recognized that there was a small gated area by the tennis courts, and Lauren and I really wanted to find out more about it because it looked like a garden. And through some asking around, we found out that the special education teacher, Mr. Oxcott, has actually been running that garden with his students for almost 5 years. And so we were able to go into the garden and see what he does in there and see the kinds of plants and learn more about it.
I think I got into this one 4 years ago, and there was nothing here in this garden. We had a small garden outside of this caged area, kind of in the lawn my first year here, which was just one of these garden beds. And then we just kind of stumbled onto this. The kids liked the one little bed so much. Everybody was always wanted to go down and work in the small garden, and it wasn't big enough for more than a couple kids, you know. So just seeing how much students like it inspired me to try to get a bigger one in here. Got some bulbs coming up here. Bulbs. We like to do a lot of hands-on type of learning. So if we're doing a unit on life sciences, on plant growth, propagation, then it's much easier to understand that kind of content when you talk about a seed and how it sprouts and the various stages of growth to really do it and observe it. And we've gone from seed to food, so we just have a good time and we move around. It's good for my students to move around and be outside and do a little bit of work. It's also kind of just independent living skills where you learn how to have a hobby and learning responsibility. So we That's really why it's out here, to have a good time while we're here at school.
In the future, the students and Mr. Oxtott hope to build a greenhouse and sell more of their plants, being mostly self-sustaining. By making their own fertilizer, using old recycled materials, and selling some of their plants during various events, they'll have to rely on their STOPS grant and volunteer donations less and less. Even so, funding can still be difficult. Along with that, there are other struggles and setbacks when maintaining the garden.
Just those ground squirrels, those dastardly ground squirrels, and they're the problem.
What's interesting is that while we were filming in the garden, it was actually going through some demolition. They were going through a process of removing old debris from a shed that had been rotting away for years. There are also future hopes for the garden for a greenhouse and maybe more extensive plant sales. But for now, Mr. Oxtott Garden is doing just fine. Thanks to Mr. Oxtott for showing us around, and thank you to all the students who helped that garden truly flourish. Now, it's very obvious that the janitors around Santa Teresa work really hard. But what's not so obvious is what they get to do in their downtime, if they have any, and where they spend their downtime. A while back, Lauren and I discovered a door that simply had a label custodian. We really wanted to find out what was behind that door, so we actually got in contact with one of our very own custodians here, James, and he agreed to show us around the custodian room. And we got an inside scoop of a janitor's life and what goes on behind that door.
I've been a custodian for the past 10 years, and before that, I was a sub at 2 or 3 different various other high schools in the East Side School District. My shift starts from 3, and I work all the way to 11:30. During the course of the day, it's basic. You know, empty trash, clean restrooms, vacuum, and whatever is required for me to do as far as when other people call me to help out, I would do that.
James showed us all the little areas in the custodian lounge. There are personal lockers, equipment cabinets, a mini kitchen, and an office area.
This area is kind of small, so it's not too much we can do as far as. In the evening, we try to stay on the same page, so just in case they call us to do something else, we'll all be together to do it all at the same time. So yeah, we try to, but in between times, you might have 1 or 2 guys that take their breaks and lunches different from us. So.
In taking their breaks together and working together, the custodians have formed a tight bond. James has been working at ST for 10 years, 2 other custodians sharing the same amount of time, and 3 others that have worked here twice as long. All this time spent together has resulted in friendship.
You know, we get along, joke around, stuff like that. So yeah, it's pretty interesting to see how we all mesh together. You know, yeah, it's pretty fun working with the guys. We have 4 at night, and then there's 3 in the daytime. So it's 3 during the day and 4 at night. Yeah, we need more.
James also informed us that although working as a custodian can be a rough job, it can also be quite comical. He definitely has seen some weird things during his time as a custodian.
Yeah, I've seen weird as far as in the restrooms. You know, graffiti. You know, I've seen these on the wall as far as graffiti. Things I probably can't mention on camera and, you know, that I can't share with you guys. But yeah, it's like that. Yeah.
Let's be real. Being a custodian isn't exactly the dream job. But when you have great friends around you to support you and a really nice place to relax and get away, it can be an enjoyable experience. Thanks, James, for showing us your world. Peace out. Lauren and I wanted to know more about our school, and along the way, we got to meet you and the areas you call your second home, along with learning the different purposes that they serve. Thank you also to everyone who's watching. We hope that you learned a bit more about your school. And we encourage you to do a bit of your own exploring, just like we did. But remember, Lauren and I got permission to go all the places we went and to talk with all the people we talked to. And we advise you to do the same. So make sure that you have permission before you go on your own expedition.